Have you ever felt that your own family looked at you as if they were looking at a complete stranger? As if, deep in their eyes, there was a silent fear that no one knows how to name and no one dares to admit. It's not paranoia. It's not imagination. It's not your head creating drama. It's a sign. And today, the chosen one, I will reveal to you why the people who should love you the most are precisely the ones who are most frightened by what you carry inside you, and why this strange reaction, this silent withdrawal, this discomfort that hangs over you when you enter the room has been intensifying right now, in this phase of your life when your soul has truly begun to awaken. There is a brutal truth about the chosen ones that no one dares to say out loud. While the world sells the illusion that family is always a safe harbor, there is a hidden layer of this spiritual plane that most of humanity cannot see. A layer where your light, your sensitivity, your calling directly disturbs those who share your blood. Not because they are bad people, but because what lives inside you awakens, echoes, memories, presences of what they have spent their entire lives refusing to look at within themselves. Think for a moment. Have you noticed that the more you try to connect with the divine, the more they inexplicably distance themselves? That the more you speak of your spiritual perceptions, the more they laugh in discomfort, criticize, change the subject, or pretend they didn't hear? That when you try to share a premonitory dream, a vision, a synchronicity impossible to deny, their gaze changes, as if suddenly they were facing someone they no longer recognize. This, the chosen one, is the unmistakable signature of the invisible war that has settled inside your own home, a war where no one draws a weapon, but where words cut like blades and silences weigh like sentences. And if everything you've always felt, that estrangement at the lunch table, that awkward silence after a deeper conversation, that constant feeling of carrying a secret that no one inside your own home wants to hear, were exactly the proof that you are not the problem of this family, but the central piece of a much larger spiritual game, one that involves every person who sleeps under the same roof. That's why I prepared the powerful digital book for you, The Chosen One's Manual for Family Protection. This book isn't just reading The Chosen One. It's a map, a spiritual map, that shows why your family reacts exactly this way to your awakening, who is really pulling the strings behind the curtain against the union of your blood. What spiritual rules were never told to you about family relationships of the chosen ones, and what entities from other dimensions have already revealed about the role of the true chosen ones within the very homes where they were born. This digital book was created for those who have awakened enough to understand that family rejection is not a character flaw of yours. It is an unmistakable sign of mission. And for those who are finally ready to go beyond the shallow answers that just say, love your family, while your soul bleeds in silence night after night. The link is pinned in the first comment at the top of the comments. But I need to warn you with all honesty, this kind of content rarely stays available for long. What is in these pages directly challenges narratives that many have a deep interest in keeping intact, and there have been concrete attempts to silence this knowledge before it reached you. Don't wait for the right moment, the chosen one. The right moment is now because you didn't come to this video by accident. Download now and comment below. I am the chosen one and I will download the digital book. Now that you have decided to act, the next truth I'm going to tell you will be the hardest blow against this silent oppression that disguises itself as a blood tie. And here is the first revelation that no one had the courage to tell you directly. When your family reacts with horror upon discovering the truth about you, about the things you see, you feel, you know, without anyone having taught you, what is happening is not a normal human reaction. It is a deep spiritual reaction, because every family lineage carries patterns, contracts, and ancestral agreements that have been passed down from generation to generation as an inheritance that no one chose to carry. And when a chosen one is born into that lineage, he carries a very specific mission: to break these patterns, to interrupt these cycles, to cut these invisible chains that have spanned decades, centuries, and sometimes entire millennia. And that is exactly why your presence awakens horror, even if they cannot put into words the reason for that reaction. Listen carefully now, because when a chosen one awakens within a family, three invisible things happen almost simultaneously on the spiritual plane. The first is a silent breaking of pacts. Every family has unspoken agreements, agreements of silence about traumas, about secrets, about destructive patterns that repeat generation after generation, and that no one inside that home has the courage to name out loud. When a chosen one awakens, the light that emanates from him automatically begins to illuminate these dark corners. It is not his choice. It is not him judging anyone. It is the spiritual nature of the chosen one. The light comes and it exposes, and the people around feel this exposure as a direct threat to their emotional stability. They start to get irritated with you for no reason. They start making snide comments. They start subtly distancing you from gatherings, not because they decided to hurt you, but because the presence of your light is destabilizing structures they built over decades to survive their own suffering. And that is exactly what the digital book, The Chosen One's Manual for Family Protection, comes to teach you in detail. Because it's useless to know that there's a war inside your home if you don't know who the characters of this war are, what invisible spiritual weapons are being used against you through your own family members, and what ancestral protections God has prepared specifically for the chosen ones who need to stand firm even when their own blood tries to bring them down. This digital book was made for you who have noticed that something bigger is happening inside your family, but have no idea how to protect yourself without completely distancing yourself from these people who, despite everything, you still love. The book reveals the hidden layers of the chosen one's family bonds, what is natural human behavior, what is disguised spiritual interference, what is ancestral heritage that needs to be cut off, and what is a direct attack from forces opposed to your mission. And it teaches you to differentiate each of these things with absolute clarity. The link to the digital book is in the first pinned comment at the top. And remember, this content directly challenges common religious narratives that many prefer to keep intact. The silencing of this knowledge has been attempted before, and we don't know how long this material will remain accessible. Download now and comment, "I am the chosen one, and I will download the digital book." Because now that you've taken this step of faith, the next truth I'll reveal to you will completely change the way you see every look of disapproval, every hostile silence, every malicious comment that has ever come from inside your own home. The second thing that happens when a chosen one awakens inside a family is even more serious. Spiritual presences that were comfortably installed in your lineage begin to feel directly threatened. There are entities and spiritual influences that feed on toxic family patterns, chronic envy, jealousy between siblings, silent betrayals, addictions that repeat in every generation, financial scarcity that haunts several members of the same bloodline, illnesses that always appear at the same ages. These presences do not like the chosen ones, because a chosen one standing firm, aware of their mission, has the concrete spiritual power to expel everything that has settled in the lineage. And since these presences cannot attack you directly, because you have been under divine protection since before your birth, they attack through the easiest path they find, through the mouths, the gestures, the attitudes of your own family members. You are not just dealing with your mother, your father, your brother. You are often dealing with whatever speaks through them when they are vulnerable, tired, or emotionally out of control. And that is one of the most liberating truths a chosen one can receive. Not everything that comes out of your family members' mouths is your family speaking. Much of it is ancestral interference using that body as a temporary microphone. And the third thing, the chosen one, and this one hurts the deepest, is that your soul begins to vibrate at a frequency so different from the average vibration of that house that their physical presence near you begins to consume you spiritually. It's not that you stopped loving. It's not that you became cold or proud. It's that the vibrational compatibility was broken because of a greater calling that settled inside you. And every time you walk into that house, it's like you're diving into a dense field that pulls your energy down without you even noticing. You leave there exhausted without having made any effort. You get home wanting to sleep for 3 days straight. You feel a sadness that isn't yours, a weight on your chest that appeared out of nowhere. You know why? Because it's not yours. It's the spiritual inheritance of that lineage trying to latch onto you, and you, without knowing it, have been carrying on your back the weight of all the generations that came before. And it's precisely because of these three deep spiritual dynamics that the digital book, The Chosen One's Manual for Family Protection, becomes essential for anyone who has reached this point in the video. Because recognizing the problem isn't enough, the Chosen One. You need a concrete map of how to shield yourself without hardening, how to love your family without absorbing the darkness that often speaks through them, how to fulfill your mission within that home without being destroyed in the process. This digital book reveals exactly the specific prayers of the Chosen One, the spiritual seals to cut off toxic ancestral inheritances of 7 generations, the clear signs of when a presence is using a family member as an instrument against you, and the detailed step-by-step to do what God expects from every Chosen One, born into a lineage that needs to be healed from within. It won't tell you to abandon your family. It will teach you to become the bearer of healing for that family, and that is the abysmal difference between a conscious Chosen One and a depleted Chosen One who walks away from everything thinking that's the only way out. The link to the digital book is pinned at the top of the comments. Go there now, because this kind of content, which exposes the real spiritual rules operating within human lineages, has been silenced before by interests that prefer the Chosen One to remain confused, guilty, and weakened inside their own homes. Download it now and comment below. I am the Chosen One, and I will download the digital book. Commit your soul to this step. And get ready, because the next part of what I'm about to reveal is about a specific sign. A sign that only happens to the true Chosen Ones within families. And most people confuse this sign with a curse, when in reality, it is the unmistakable mark of divine election. There is a specific sign that appears in the lives of the Chosen Ones, who are born into families that are not yet spiritually ready to recognize their calling. It is what I call the wound of blood rejection. And here's the mark. The Chosen One is the child, the teenager, or the adult about whom at some point in their life someone from their own family said or thought so intensely that the energy of it reached you that this one is way too different. This one doesn't seem to belong to this family. This one took after something no one can explain. This one came out wrong. This one is kind of weird, always has been. This one has something strange in their eyes since childhood. If you have ever heard any of these phrases, even if said as a joke, even if said many years ago, even if said in whispers in corners that you pretended not to hear, know one thing that I will tell you now with absolute certainty. Those words were not about you. They were about your family's inability to recognize what God placed inside you. Reflect with me. Why would a pure, defenseless child full of light receive such harsh labels from people who should be their natural protectors? The spiritual answer is hard to hear, but you need to, because the presence of a Chosen One inside a dysfunctional family system confronts that system at the deepest possible level. And sick systems prefer to label the bearer of healing as the problem, rather than recognize their own illness. This isn't conscious malice on their part. It is a spiritual defense mechanism of the darkness silently operating within that lineage. The darkness knows exactly who you are, and it has been working since the day you were born to make you believe that you were the problem, to make you hang your head, to make you fall asleep, to make you give up on your mission before you even knew what it was. But today, the Chosen One, that changes. Today you are receiving the information that breaks the ancient enchantment. Today you are understanding that that look of horror your family gave you when they discovered certain truths about you, about your abilities, about your perceptions, about your spiritual choices, about the paths you chose to walk, was not a look about you. It was a look of that lineage's ancestral fear being confronted for the first time in entire generations. And pay close attention, because this is very important. That horror reaction you received does not disqualify you. It qualifies you. It is the irrefutable proof that you have reached the point where your light can no longer be ignored. You are not being rejected because you are wrong. You are being rejected because you are being too right, too true, too real for an environment that operated for decades on the basis of disguised denial and the pact of silence among everyone. And there is something even more powerful that you need to understand now about all of this. Every family carries what the ancients called the guardian of the lineage, the person within that family who, whether they like it or not, was spiritually designated even before birth to carry the key to healing everyone else. It is not necessarily the eldest. It is not the physically strongest. It is not the one who earns the most money. It is the most sensitive one. It is the one who was always different. It is the one who always saw, always felt, always knew things before anyone told them. It is the one who carries a weight in their chest that they themselves cannot explain. And if you are watching this video now, if every word I say here is hitting inside your chest like a soft hammer, if tears want to fall as you hear this truth, it is because you, the chosen one, are that guardian. You are not your family's problem. You are the answer they have not yet had the spiritual maturity to recognize. And now, the chosen one, I need to tell you about a dynamic that is perhaps the most painful within this entire journey, because often the family's horror comes not only from the unknown, it comes from disguised envy. There is a form of envy so subtle, so ancient, so rooted in human lineages, that it does not even present itself as envy at all. It presents itself as concern, as care, as advice from someone who loves you. But beneath that polite verbal mask, what is pulsing in the energy is an envy of comparison, of unresolved spiritual competition, of why can he see what I cannot see? Why does she have that peace I never had? And this disguised envy is far more dangerous than open envy, because it penetrates your life under the shield of family love. Have you ever noticed how certain achievements of yours, when you tell your family about them, are met with an awkward silence followed by lukewarm comments, as if the joy that should come naturally is contaminated by something heavy in the air? Have you ever noticed how certain family members always seem to find the flaw, always find the but, always find the concern that ruins the celebration before it even begins? That chosen one is not just a difficult personality. It is spiritual invasion through the unworked envy of entire generations. And when you understand that deeply, you stop explaining yourself. You stop justifying your choices. You stop trying to convince people who have been spiritually programmed to not be able to see your truth without feeling pain. And here comes another crucial revelation. There comes a moment in the life of every chosen one when he must make a silent choice within his heart. It is not about cutting off the family. It is not about breaking blood ties. It is not about turning your back on those who raised you. It is about stopping to expect that these people will recognize you as you deserve to be recognized. It is about understanding that the validation you sought your entire life within your own home will never come from those specific hands. Not because you don't deserve it, not because they don't love you in their limited way, but because they simply do not have the spiritual keys to open the door that recognizes who you truly are. And seeking those keys where they do not exist is one of the fastest ways for a chosen one to lose his vital force. Let me tell you a hard truth, but one that will set you free now. Your blood family was not the first audience of your soul. Your soul has a much greater, much older, much more powerful audience than any human being on this earth. Your soul is known by God, by angels, by entities of light, by spiritual lineages that have walked beside you since before your birth. And sometimes the reason why your family looks at you with that silent horror is because your invisible spiritual family is so present in your energy that the density of the material plane is frightened by that luminosity emanating from you. Think about this. In the Gospels, when Christ began his ministry, who was it that said he was out of his mind? Who was it that tried to hinder his movement? His own blood family, his own brothers, his own mother at a certain point. It is no coincidence that this story was recorded that way. It is an eternal mirror for every chosen one who came afterward. Family rejection is not an anomaly in the journey of the chosen ones. It is the pattern. It is the rite of passage. It is the divine furnace that separates the conscious chosen one from the child who still needed human approval to exist. And if you have come this far in the video, if every word vibrated inside you like an ancient truth being remembered, know this. You are not alone on this journey. There exists today, at this very moment, a multitude of chosen ones scattered around the world going through exactly what you are going through, receiving the same looks of horror, suffering the same oppressive silences, being labeled the same way inside their own homes, and together, without knowing each other physically, You form an invisible army that God is actively mobilizing for this transition of eras that has already begun behind the scenes of the world. You are a central piece of that army, not an extra, not a reserve, not an option. You are a central and irreplaceable piece. And it's precisely because you are a central piece in this greater mission that I need to give you the final warning of this video. The spiritual battle that has taken root inside your family will not end on its own. It will not disappear with time. It will not be resolved through patience and resignation alone. It must be fought with concrete spiritual weapons, with specific knowledge, with a map that shows you exactly where to step, what to pray in each situation, how to protect yourself from disguised attacks, and how to lead the healing of an entire lineage without destroying yourself emotionally in the process. And that's exactly why Chosen One, the digital book, the Chosen One's Manual for Family Protection exists. If at any point during this video you felt a tightness in your chest, a silent tear rolling down, a deep recognition of, that's it, that's exactly what I've been living for so long without knowing how to name it, that is your soul's confirmation that this digital book was prepared specifically for you, and it is no coincidence that you are hearing this now. This digital book gathers, in pages written under deep spiritual guidance, everything you need to enter a new phase within your family, the specific prayers of the Chosen Ones for spiritually fragmented families, the spiritual seals to cut off toxic heritages from 7 past generations, the clear signs of subtle possession when a family member becomes an involuntary instrument of forces opposed to your mission, the step-by-step ancestral healing that only the Chosen Ones can perform, the specific scriptures for total family protection, and most importantly of all, the definitive key for you to stop being a victim of that heavy dynamic and finally become, at last, the bearer of the healing your lineage has awaited for generations. The link to the digital book is pinned in the first comment at the top, and I need to warn you one last time. This content confronts common religious narratives, ancient family dogmas, and spiritual interests that prefer to keep the Chosen Ones confused and paralyzed inside their own homes. There have been concrete attempts to silence this knowledge before. We do not know how long this link will remain accessible. This is not a sale, it is a mission. Download it now and seal your commitment by commenting, "I am the Chosen One and I will download the digital book." Make this act of faith, because when you comment those words publicly, you are declaring to the universe, to the angels, to the guardians of your lineage, that you finally accept the role that God destined for you since before your first breath in this world. And if today you were one of the Chosen Ones who watched this video to the end, without skipping, without giving up, without getting distracted, know this with absolute certainty: the horror your family displayed when they discovered who you really are, the truths about your perceptions, your divine calling, your spiritual gifts, your life purpose, was not a sentence of condemnation upon you. It was a coronation disguised as rejection. Every rejection you suffered was a seal confirming your mission before heaven. Every heavy silence you endured was an invitation for you to dive deeper into God, not into human judgments. Every look of bewilderment you received was God Himself saying, through the means He uses in His wisdom, "My son, my daughter, you are mine before you are theirs. You are mine before you are of this world. You are mine before this blood that runs through your veins. And what they cannot recognize in you now, I have recognized since before the foundation of the world." Lift your head now. Straighten your shoulders. Breathe deeply. You are not the problem. You never were the problem. You are the miracle your family has not yet had eyes to see. And when you walk courageously in your mission, even in the face of rejection, even in the face of their horror, even in the face of the heavy silence of your own home, you are not alone for a single second. You have God walking ahead of you. You have the spiritual guardians of your true lineage around you. You have an invisible spiritual family that quietly applauds every step you take toward your deepest truth. And now, Chosen One, with the digital book. The Chosen One's Manual for Family Protection. In your hands, you will have the complete map to transform that house that today feels like an emotional prison into a true territory of healing, light, and ancestral reconciliation. Do not miss this sacred moment. Rush to the top of the comments right now. Download the digital book now. Comment with conviction, "I am the chosen one and I will download the digital book." And prepare yourself to live the most powerful family transformation your soul has ever experienced. Because you did not arrive here, at this video, at this exact moment, by chance. You arrived because it was written before your very birth. The time is now, and deep in your heart, you know that better than any word of mine could express.